49ers Week 2 preseason game is in the books. They got the victory. It's all that mattered. We're going to talk about that, recap the game. We'll go over the pressers. We'll go over all over the highlights, the trending up players, trending down players, all that good stuff. We'll end the show with a live Q&A right after this. Stick around, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. So bright that we shine. All we know is the Niners. Ready to go, let us find us. I be sipping gold bar whiskey on the rocks and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. WayneBreezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. WayneBreezie, the 4-9 preacher. We so bright that we shine it. What's going on, faithful to the Bay? Welcome to the WayneBreezie Show. Monday, Victory Monday. It's nothing like 49er football on a Sunday, and you're celebrating that Victory Monday. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. Gunshots for the 49ers. They got the job done at home. They returned to the Bay, found a way to get a win. It looked like the 49ers, once they got some, I would say, some good old juju flowing their way, they kind of had control of the game. They secured the victory, and they move on to their final preseason game, which I'm happy about because Kyle Shanahan already said that the starters will be getting good times and good play out there against those Raiders. So listen, we'll recap the game and have some fun with you guys on the show. Welcome to the show once again. Shout out to the Breezy Bunch crew that's out there. Man, you guys are rocking. My man, Don't Bother Me with the hashtag. It says blessings to everybody out there. Peachy's in the building. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching the show. If you just happen to be stumbling and bumbling on YouTube and this show popped up, shout out to YouTube if you're recommending it. If you happen to stumble here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because the chat is only for subscribers only. So you're going to want to participate in the live chat because they will keep you entertained. 49ers Throwback is in the building saying hello to everybody out there. 49er Jeff, what's going on, baby? Says what's going on. Salute to you as well. All the wonderful Tanya is in the building, and I see. Hold up, Tanya. You get the ear horns because I see the membership by the name. Welcome back to Tanya Boats. What's going on? He's in the building. Matthew as well. I don't want to miss any of the Breezy Bunch members. And shout out to everybody that aren't members. I'm encouraging you to become a member as well, so you can get that live shout out as well. Listen, did the nitty gritty overreaction show last night. Not much to overreact because it's a preseason game. I don't think people really care about the preseason game like I care about the preseason game. Like, you know, it's another game. For me, it's all about evaluating. For those, Brett Brooks, I'm sorry, I didn't shout you out. My apologies. Thank you for being a member as well. For those that don't really, understand, I think what preseason is all about. It's really about evaluating. It's about evaluating the talent. It's not about like your starters going out there finding a way to get into a rhythm because they won't. They won't be able to get into a rhythm with 11 plays. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I know a lot of people are going to badmouth Brock Purdy because he looked terrible. And I get it. I understand. He didn't look good, didn't look in sync, didn't look like he can establish some type of a rhythm. And I understand that. But you gotta add the context to why it was a little different for Brock Purdy. I mainly question why was he even out there? I mean, if you're not going to have his starters out there, why wasn't he even out there? And I know Kyle Shanahan spoke, and they felt really good about the situation, and I understand. And Brock Purdy wanted to play, so put that on Brock too. He wanted to be out there. He wanted to get into the game. He wanted to get a feel, get back on the football field. So listen, I commend everybody out there for wanting to be out there. But what's the risk, without your starters out there? Was that something that was probably lingering over your heads out there, being a faithful? Like, why is Brock out there?
and there's nobody starting out there that plays with Brock Purdy pretty much. He didn't have a starting offensive line. He didn't have any of his starting weapons, and Brock pretty much had to go out there and kind of make a play out of no play. And he said specifically that he didn't really care too much. The hits didn't bother him. Nothing was phasing Brock, but he said that he didn't look good. And I love when our quarterback can take accountability for his gameplay. He said he didn't look good. He didn't have any excuses either. He just said, he didn't play his best out there. But, I guarantee you're going to get Brock Purdy's best, just about every single game. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be able to give his all. And I'm excited to see what Brock Purdy does season 3. Being in this offense, finally, I think understanding the offense, understanding the lingo, understanding how to control the offense, understanding how to command the huddle. I'm excited to see what Brock Purdy is going to do. Shout out to our Facebook members out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live on Facebook as well. If we got any Twitch members out there that's watching, appreciate you. Love for you to come on and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know a lot of people don't like YouTube, but listen, man, come on to the YouTube channel. All right, we'll have some fun on today's episode. So just to recap the game, 49ers, they looked good. 49ers victory, 16-10. And they looked, well, I don't want to say that they looked good, but through the adversity of the game, I felt like they found a way to secure a victory. If that makes it a little bit, better. Like, you know what I'm saying? They found a way to secure the victory because once they took the lead, they pretty much held on to it, which they did. And, the Saints had an opportunity to take the lead at the end of the game, which would have gave the Niners maybe a little bit of time to try to go down and kick a field goal to get a win. But the 49ers defense, I don't care if you want to call them reserves or not, whatever the defense was, they held their ground. I thought the 49ers defense did exactly what they needed to do. I saw a lot from the 49ers defense. If I had to give the bell for the 49ers unit, the defense to me did what it needed to do. Yes, there's some areas that they need to improve on, but I thought the defense overall played a good game. They only gave up 10 points, and that's what you want, right? 0-10. I feel like 0-10 is what I'm expecting the defense to give up every single week. 0-10. I don't care who's out there. I don't care who's playing. 0-10. They may give up some rushing yards. They may give up, passing yards. But the real thing is, are they giving up the points? And you get 0-10 points. I feel like that will allow the 49ers offense, whether it's clicking or whether it's not, to find a way to win a game. Because I think this season, with the other teams getting a little bit better, and let me know if you agree with this. Thumbs up if you agree with this. I think the 49ers are going to have to win more gritty games this year than they had to do last year. And I don't think they won any of the gritty games last year. I don't think they won the gritty games, the games that came down to just grit, finding ways to finish. And hear me out. Let's say they played 3 to 4 gritty games last year, and they were all against mainly the AFC teams. I don't think the Minnesota Vikings game was a gritty game, but the Browns, okay, they got beat by the Browns. They couldn't find a way to close out. They couldn't find a way to finish. Close, finish, whatever word you choose you want to use, right? The Ravens game, believe it or not, even though we threw 7,000 interceptions, it was still a gritty game. It was still close. Wasn't like a big blowout until and so that was another game. I just felt like they couldn't win the gritty games. They couldn't win the games where they faced adversity and had to find a way to win, is basically what I'm saying. And obviously they lost the Super Bowl. So yeah, it is what it is. All right. I'm glad the sounds great. I hope the effects are great as well. I'm hoping everything works out there. They did find ways to win some gritty. I mean, if you want to say the Detroit game was a gritty game, that's a good one. Yeah, that would be the gritty game. That would be their grittiest game, that they found a way to just say, bump adversity, we could find a way to come back. And it took the Niners, it took some miraculous plays. It took some miraculous plays. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, to make that happen. It took a player named Brandon Ayuk to make a miraculous catch I don't know why the Niners just don't want to pay him miraculous money. At this point, you got to figure it out, because I will say this. With Ayuk on this roster, the Niners are averaging probably, I would say, 28 to 30 points, 30 plus points a game. Without him on this roster, you're going to get a lot of more gritty games. Terran, what up, baby? So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch the team once they knock it and trim it down to the 53. And that's what this is all about. And so when you watch preseason football, you're saying to yourself, what the heck is going on? Why is the game boring? Why is the game slow? Why is it this? Why is it that? Oh, it's because there are players out there that are playing for a job. And I thought that the Niners overall, not because they won, it was the adversity on defense. If the weakest link on the defense in phases was the run defense, they gave up 134 yards on the ground. So I just didn't. I wasn't figuring out why we couldn't stop the run. So I got to watch the film to see who was getting blocked. I know Mustafa got blocked out of a play. He wasn't the worst defender against the run. I think everything else, against the pass, he's the man. I think he's going to be fine in coverage. Now he just has to figure out how to shed blocks. But listen, he's a rookie. I get it. He wasn't the worst player out there. And I might have overreacted a little bit about him yesterday, but he was not the worst player out there. And I can't wait to watch the film because I want to see how he was blocked. And he has to figure out how to use his body to shed those blocks, because they're going to be sending guys at him. They want to take the big hit away. Once he figures that out, good golly, oh molly. But I think overall the defense struggled against the run, but they adjusted. If you go back, they were giving up almost 5 yards per carry in the first half and trimmed that down to damn near 4 yards per carry, a little less than 4 yards per carry in the second half. So they figured it out. Like they figured out how to find the ways. And I think it was some of the substitutes. Like Shaquille Brown, I thought was a run stuffer. Like he was in the backfield a lot. Didn't have big stats, but he was in the backfield a lot. Pay attention to that name, Shaquille Brown. Him, T.Y. McGill, like the roster, the depth, who's going to make it, it's going to be tough. And every single position group. This is probably going to be the toughest 53-man selection of Kyle Shanahan's tenure here in San Francisco. It's got to be, because I'm watching players that are really doing what they need to do. Here's a position, right? The punter position. Let's talk about my man, the punter. Let's talk about Presley Harvin III. Let's talk about him. Shout out to Presley Harvin III, who's one of my good friends' cousin, actually. She messaged me about her cousin playing for the Niners. I'm like, who? And then it was him, and I'm like, dang. I thought he looked really good in the first preseason game, and then he went out there and looked even better in the second preseason game. So, is there a possibility that there's some type of, will there be, I want to talk about the two controversies that I think are going on in the camp. I don't know if I know how to spell the word controversy, so if you see it down at the bottom of the screen ticking, don't charge the game to the spelling. It is what it is. Bump y'all, bump it. All right, so controversy. You ready? Here we go. You got Percy Harvin. You got Presley Harvin. I wonder if he's related to Percy Harvin. Now I got to ask. You got Presley Harvin III, who's out there. I thought he played a particularly great game. You want to talk about flipping field position? I mean, this dude, all 4 of his punts were inside the 20. Now, all four of his punts were inside the 20. It was one drive where they had to go 95 yards, which they did. It was like an 18-play drive. I think Derek Carr was out there. The Niners, like, third unit was out there by that time. Jair Brown was off the field. And y'all got to pay attention. Like, Jair Brown came off the field. George Odom came off the field at that time. They started to substitute players in. And then, obviously, Derek Carr. It was the end of the first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter. And Derek Carr, was able to find a way to get Taysom Hill into the end zone at that 1-yard line. So, whatever. But at the end of the day, I thought Harvin, I got to ring the bell for him because he was a bright spot, because I wasn't expecting a punter, free agent. And when I say off the street, I hope they don't get like offended, But if you're free agent, you're on the street. Like you're at home on the street, working at a grocery store. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you don't have a job in the NFL. And so when the Niners picked him up, with all the Steeler talk going on with the trade between Brandon Ayuk, 49ers, blah, 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 and they end up signing a former Steeler. I thought that was ironic. But this kid came in and he was nothing like, he was like a breath of fresh air. It was like, yes, we love Mitch Wishnowsky. Mitch Wishnowsky, to us, he had probably his greatest season last year compared to his rookie season. I like the fact that Mitch has been, transcending his game. He's been kicking the ball differently to make it do certain things. He was, to me, can punters be all pro? He was like an all pro punter last year, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, he is currently injured. So is there a possibility that the Niners are going to have to make a decision? And I briefly discussed it last night with Peachy on the Nitty Gritty Niners Talk Overreaction show, because people thought maybe I'm overreacting a bit. But how do you walk away from a punter that's actually making a name for themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you walk away from that? And I want to know what you guys think. You know what I'm saying? In the chat. Harvin was solid. You know what I mean? Now look, I feel there's some good money that you invested in Mitch Wishnowsky. My only question about Mitch is what or how significant is his injury? Because to me, that's what's going to, you know what I'm saying, kind of make the 49ers make a tough decision. Stephanie, what's going on? How you doing out there? 49er Media in the building too. So that's little bro. He says no controversy. He's showing other teams. Hey, however you want to put it, that's fine. No controversy. He's showing other teams, blah, 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 blah. Mitch is the guy. This is not even about Mitch being the guy, because I know Mitch is the guy. At the end of the day, I'm just curious to know, can Mitch kick it? Can he kick it? That's the only thing I care about. Can Mitch Wishnowsky continue to punt, and how severe is that injury? You know what I'm saying? My boy Cole says, I don't think I've seen Wishnowsky drop inside the 5 punts 3 times total in his career. Harvin did it 3 times last night. I hear you, bro. I hear you. But again, something I was telling my friend, I was like, he's really putting on a good performance to get a job this year. It probably won't be with the 49ers. And if Mitch Wishnowsky, first of all, let me just say this. If Mitch Wishnowsky is fully healthy, there's definitely no doubt in my mind that it's him. But my question is, how significant is this injury? Does he have a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken? How significant is that injury? And will it hinder him? And that, to me, is what's going to make the decision tough. Because the moment the 49ers release and waive Harvin, I guarantee he's going to get a job. And I don't think you're going to stash a punter on a practice squad. I don't think that's how it works. Like, you know what I mean? So, Presley Harvin, the third, I thought he had a tremendous game. I give that kid a round of applause. Special teams, I thought the special teams unit itself in the game was pretty spot on. I did. I know a lot of people still questioning Jake Moody. I want y'all to go back and watch the field goal he missed and pay attention to the pressure right in front of his face. It's kind of hard, but he's got to hit him. At the end of the day, I expect my kickers to make the field goals. But there will be distractions. And there was a distraction on that particular play. I don't think that the special teams kicking line, I don't think they did their job, their due diligence on that one to give him the best chance to make a 51-yard field goal. But overall, he's 3 for 4, 75% on the night. Not too bad, not too shabby. Had a 47, had a 30-something and a 24 and missed the 51. So I think Moody's going to be fine. I think Moody is going to be fine. And I'm not saying that because he's a former Michigan player. He's the 49ers kicker. So at this point, you guys are going to have to accept that this is the guy that they chose to spend a compensatory 3rd-round pick on to kick for them. So accept it. It is what it is. It doesn't matter what school he went to. He's got to find a way to continue to be consistent in making his field goals. I thought he had one bad kickoff too, if I'm not mistaken. Like there was one, wasn't bad, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But overall, I thought the special teams did good. All right, back to the controversy. Quarterback two. The controversy for quarterback two is going to be fun. And I'm happy. I'm happy that we get fun times for quarterbacking. Because the last time we had a quarterback two controversy, it wasn't boring. It was just like, oh my God, like pick a guy. If you guys don't remember, I'll refresh your memory. He used to wear number 5, and it was Sam Darnold. And Trey Lance versus Sam Darnold was going to be quarterback 2. And, everybody thought it was going to be Trey Lance, including myself, because he was the quarterback 1 the previous year before the injury. But then they ended up they moved on. Like they traded him. And it made Sam Darnold quarterback 2. Actually, they didn't trade Trey Lance till a little bit later. So Sam Darnold was designated quarterback 2. Trey Lance ended up getting traded. And then Brandon Allen came in. He was the emergency guy all last season. But, overall, like, the quarterback 2 spot is, I don't know if it's up in the air. That's a room. That's a room. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I want to see Tanner Mordecai play with the twos, the ones and the twos. Because he might have looked the best out of the quarterbacks. He might look, and what I mean is that he might have looked the best as a quarterback. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, look, the quarterback controversy for quarterback 2 might not just be Dobbs versus Allen. After watching what Tanner Mordecai did with his opportunities and his reps, he looked like he was the most polished guy out there. He was able to throw on the run. He was able to move. He started off hot. He started off 4 for 4. They get kind of like to the red zone area, and then the field shrinks a little bit, and then he started to struggle. But he got his team in field goal range, right, to give the team that 6-point lead. So, like, Tanner Mordecai, I want to see more. I'm hoping his reps. I'm hoping Kyle does what he did the last quarterback 2 competition in practice for the remainder of training camp, where he's allowing these players to get the reps with the higher team on different days. Because I want to see the processing from Tanner Mordecai. That's the 49ers undrafted quarterback too, by the way. And if the 49ers nail an undrafted quarterback, Greasy is the man. He's already the man, but he will be the man. That means Greasy will find, I don't know if he wants to be a head coach or not, but he'll be on the first plane out of Santa Clara next season because he's going to get hired. But this dude can develop QBs, find QBs, and make them fit for Kyle's system. If I'm Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, I'm finding a way to keep my boy Greasy in this unit for as long as I can. You better give him some paid time off, whatever it costs. You want to keep Greasy here because he's getting these quarterbacks in here. And look what they did with Brock Purdy. Look what they did. Look what they're doing. Listen, people think Sam Darnold may have been trash with the New York Football Jets, but I think every quarterback is trash with the New York Football Jets. But look what he did. Even when Sam came in the game, Sam looked efficient. Sam was throwing the short throws as well as the throws down the field. Sam ended up becoming a free agent, and now he's the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. You got to give my man Greasy some love right there. I see questions out there. I'm going to get to them, but let me talk about my bro Nigel's comments. His Greasy did good with Jimmy. I don't know if that was Greasy, but I'm going to give him credit because quarterback's coach. I don't know if that was like Jimmy's will to prove Kyle Shanahan wrong, because I saw a lot of FU Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo when he came in for the injured Trey Lance. I saw a lot of whatever. I'm going to do whatever I got. I'm going to do whatever I want to do out there. I saw a lot of commando takeover, which might have got him hurt. That's interesting, right? Like, tried to extend the play, got to the outside, got hit a certain way, and hasn't been right since. He's Jimmy Garoppolo may be quarterback 3 for the Los Angeles Rams. So I wonder if him doing that was on him, like the injury, like just trying to extend the play, whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, yes, you could give him some credit. I agree with you. Whatever. But I think Jimmy was trying to prove a point, mainly to Kyle Shanahan. 49er Jeff says, who is the leading candidate for quarterback 2? I swear it's like all right. The one thing we know about Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers is that they're going to use analytics. Period. But man, I feel like it should be Josh Dobbs because I feel more comfortable with him out there if a play breaks down. Why? Experience. Now, they both are very experienced. Brandon Allen might be even more experienced just being in the league a little bit longer than Josh Dobbs. But as far as playing experience, on the field experience, starting quarterback experience, I feel like Dobbs should be in the lead. And again, Dobbs shows flashes of, I think Josh Dobbs is what Kyle Shanahan thought Trey Lance was going to be. I think that you're going to get a guy that's going to be able to be athletic enough to make a play if the play breaks down. But Josh Dobbs is hitting them short throws. Yo, Josh Dobbs was throwing darts and accurate passes on the short throw game. Meaning he was and I watched him go through progressions. I'm like, oh shoot, this is dope. Why? How do I know? Because on that one play, he hit the check down. He had to hit the check down because his guys weren't open. You ain't open, you ain't open, you ain't open, you ain't open. Bam, check down. I think it was Braden Willis. So I'm watching Josh Dobbs, ascend. I think he's ascending. I think he is. But Brandon Allen and Kyle, stop calling Brandon Allen B.A. You getting people confused. You had me confused 4 times. I'm like, B.A. I forgot. They got the same damn initials. Brandon Allen, though, comes into a game and he just looks more like the quarterback for the 49ers as far as what Kyle Shanahan wants. You're not going to get the same magic that you get from Josh Dobbs if a play breaks down. I think Brandon Allen is willing to stay in that pocket to that last second, kind of like how Jimmy Garoppolo was before the injuries, and deliver an accurate ball. So it's tough, man. It's tough, 49er Jeff. Me personally, I think Dobbs should be quarterback 2. That's just me personally. But I know they're going to use analytics. I know they're going to play around with all that crazy stuff and whatever. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that and analytics and stuff like that. Let me see if there was another question about the controversy. But that right, I think when it comes to the quarterbacks, I think it's going to be a problem. Don't bother me, says Mordecai look confident. Can I add the word comfortable too as well? Can I add the word comfortable? Because I felt like he was comfortable. I felt like he was comfortable in the pocket. I felt like he was comfortable outside the pocket. And because he felt some type of comfort, he was definitely confident. He wasn't afraid to get sacked. He wasn't afraid to take a hit. And he just looked like he was going to be he just felt like he looks like he's going to be just fine. Especially in this system. You know what I'm saying? Do you think we see more of Mordecai on Friday? Absolutely. I think you get a heavy dosage, me personally, of the starting O. I think it's time for Kyle Shanahan to kind of like release the Delph a little bit, let them find a way to get into a rhythm. I know Christian McCaffrey won't be playing, but Jordan Mason's injury wasn't significant. We'll talk about the injuries in a second. It's not significant. You know what I'm saying? If Elijah Mitchell isn't cleared to play in this game, Jordan Mason should get to start, which means that the 49ers run game will be a little bit different. No shout slack to Cody Schrader, but like there's just a different runner. It's just a different runner. Like, you know what I mean? Just a different runner. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it comes to the starting O against the Raiders. But I think you're going to get a heavy dosage of that. And then I think you're going to find out who quarterback 2 is. I think you're going to find out who quarterback 2. Because, listen, teams might need a quarterback. There's a possibility that Josh Dobbs playing great or Brandon Allen playing great. One of those guys could be a trade candidate. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. Ralph says Dobbs is inconsistent, but at least he's an athlete. He had a lot of drop passes too. So let's just keep it a buck. So like inconsistent, yes, but a lot of drops. And I thought Ronnie Bell played better with Brandon Allen, but Ronnie Bell, we'll talk about players trending in a second. But yeah, that it was a tough game for some of those wide receivers. Not just Ronnie Bell. Like, tough game for the 49ers wide receivers, except for one. The only one wide receiver stood up. Stood out. Trending players. All right. So we got players that we'll talk about right now that are trending up and trending down, right? And so, as far as, let's go with the trending up players, because offensively it was just one. We talked about the controversy, we talked about the quarterback play, we talked about all that good stuff, but Jacob Cowing came out there yesterday. He went 4 for 5. So he had 5 targets, caught 4 receptions. You know what I'm saying? Jacob Cowing looked like he's ready for the big leagues. Okay? Like, there's no farm team in football, right? There's no JV in the NFL. But he came out there and said, I'm ready. And obviously the best catch of the night was the long over-the-shoulder throw that he was able to catch, you know what I'm saying, and get and keep the feet and everything in bounds. It was a great catch. Great catch. The way that the 49ers utilized him, I thought was really strategic. But he definitely has that top end speed, and to take the top over the D. So to take the top off the D. So I really loved what I saw from Jacob Cowing. And I remember breaking down his college film on the Patreon. There was this one game. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you'll see it's the name of the show is called These Are the Breaks, I think. And there's this one game where I watched Jacob Cowing torch a secondary defense, like when I say torch, there was one play where he outran the corner and both safeties. And it was like he had a different gear of speed, meaning, and it wasn't like a super deep, long field. It was like they were with him, and then he hit this button, and then he just left them, and it was a nice over the, hands catch for him in the end zone. I was like, he gonna be a problem. Like, he's gonna be a problem. Now, 49er media has been the biggest advocate for Jacob Cowing. Arizona is his team, and he's been the biggest advocate for Jacob Cowing because he knows better. So if you really want insight on who Jacob Cowing is and what he can do, make sure you subscribe to 49er Media's page, because he is that guy. He knows how his player needs to be utilized. Now, I will say, I want to see him in this. Will he be in the slot? Will he be more of an outside guy? I got him more of an outside guy. Little body frame. What is he, 5'8"? But utilize him. If Kyle Shanahan can utilize him, I think he's going to be a very special weapon for the San Francisco 49ers. Someone you don't have to overuse. You know what I'm saying? But you can use at the right time, right? It's like the icing on the cake. You don't know about this kid, but watch what he's about to be able to do. I think he's got the double move down pack. I can't wait to see him play in games that count. But overall, he's the player offensively trending up. And my defensive player trending up is Renardo Green. So you got 2 rookies, right? I could have went with a veteran. I could have went with Curtis Robinson. I thought he played solid at the Mike linebacker or middle linebacker. But Renardo Green had to cover Chris Olave in the slot all game when Chris Olave was out there. I thought Renardo Green, who gave up 1 catch, I thought he played well, but that PBU was spot on. No flag, nothing. And he kind of took Chris Olave out of the game. I thought Chris Olave, and that's their best. Chris Olave is the Saints' best wide receiver. He's their number one receiver. He was 3 for 4 for 26 yards. So it's not like he balled out. I mean, he didn't play super long, but I thought Renardo Green played a really good defensive game. I thought he really held down a number one wideout in the NFL. When a rookie can do that, man, listen, I'm all for it. So for me, I thought Renardo Green defensively was the player trending up. A lot of people might say it was Malik Mustafa, and I get it. But in my opinion, I feel like it was Renardo Green, and yeah, you could throw on him. Now, the best defender of the night, in my opinion, was on their team. I thought Rajon Wright was just having a hell of a game, and whatever wide receiver you put out there, he was locking him down. It was just locking him down. But I loved what I saw from Renardo Green outside as well as inside. He's going to be that key versatile piece, the 49ers second-round draft pick, key versatile piece for the 49ers this year. And you know what the question is? Will this free Deommodore Lenoir from playing inside? If they can trust Renardo Green at the nickel, the 49ers are going to be very dangerous defensively. And these are all great tacklers, right? But it was really good to see those two rookies, your second-round pick and your fourth-round pick, continue just trend up. That was Jacob Cowling's first game, too, by the way. You got to remember, he was dealing with the hamstring injury, and he came out and made a name for himself. Fourth-round pick, 49ers. Second-round pick, 49ers. They came out. They did exactly what they needed to do. Trending down, I'm gonna go with I thought Ronnie Bell. Trent Taylor had a worse game, but I thought Ronnie Bell had too many drops, and that is concerning. That is concerning. The first one was probably the most concerning. He caught the ball. He just didn't get two hands on it to reel it in. Rajon Wright comes around with the arm, and the ball squeezes out of his hand. But it was an incomplete pass. It wasn't a fumble. So you can't say he almost fumbled the ball because it wasn't a fumble. So you can't say it was an almost fumble for the simple fact that he didn't make a football play when he caught the ball. Had he turned and tried to run, then we could be like, oh man, yeah, that was the worst. But that was his first drop. And then after that, it was just, they were just forcing it to him. I couldn't figure out why they was forcing it to him. He wasn't open. So why are you forcing it, to him? The one deep pass from Brandon Allen to him, I got to go back and watch that. He should have caught it, but dang, that was a tough one because I felt like he ran his route. The play was extended, and then he took back off. He beat the defense. The ball's a little overthrown, and he just couldn't reel it in. But it touched it. It was right in his hands. I don't know if it was fingertips or what. So I got to go back and watch that from the other angles. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as I get the film on that, I can kind of break it down a little bit better. But I think he had 3 drops on the night. And in my opinion, he was the worst wide receiver on the football field. Danny Gray didn't look good. Tay Martin was all right. Danny Gray did have that bobble catch at the end, but he had drops, bunch of drops. That's concerning. That's alarming. Let me see if I got the statistics for the game as far as drops. I might actually even have that. It might be available. So bear with me because that's important. The drops, they really killed the 49ers. And I'm just like, ugh, here we go. All right. Now, we'll do our own grading tonight on Nitty Gritty Niners Talk where we grade. But as far as PFF, your top offensive grades, and we'll go through these grades. I gave you my trending down player offensively. Let me give you my trending down player defensively, and then I'll move on to some grading. And you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree. Trending player defensively, Rock Yassin. I just felt like he was out there on the football field. He had an opportunity to make one of the biggest plays, a big play on third down. Unfortunately, he got the PI call. I know that's going to hurt him grade-wise. I haven't looked at the grades yet per PFF. But that one call, that one play, that one moment that he was given, he failed. I don't know if he's going to be able to make this roster because I like what I saw from Darrell Luter Jr. And I like what I'm seeing more from the young guys. As a veteran, it's going to be tough if the young guys are going out there stacking days and playing really good. And when you got Renardo Green and you got Darrell Luter Jr. and you got these young corners, and remember, we still haven't seen Yadam yet, Isaac Yadam. We haven't seen him yet. We already know what we're going to get from our starter guys. So it's going to be tough. I think Rock Ya-Sin is probably the weakest link for me in that secondary. And if I had to pick a player from this game that had a down game, it would be him. It would have been him. All right, so I do want to go over some of these PFF grades. I like doing this on this WayneBreezie show because I just want to see from what I saw, does it coincide with how they grade it? Okay, so your top offensive grades. The offense was trash. Like, you got nothing from anybody other than Jacob Cowing. Now, you got to remember, they're going to factor in penalties, blocking, everything. Everything's going to be factored in. And the amount of snaps you obviously played. The highest offensive grade was a 78.1. The lowest offensive grade, it was a 29.2. I'm sure you guys can guess the lowest offensive grade, right? The lowest offensive grade. It was Brock Purdy. But 11 snaps. All right. So take it with a grain of salt. How you wanna view that? That's totally up to you. And I had, I told you that my player trending down. I didn't say he was the worst player, but my player trending down offensively. Okay. My player trending down. I told you it was Ronnie Bell. But he was not the worst graded wide receiver. The worst graded wide receiver was Danny Gray. It was Danny Gray. He played only 13 snaps, but he had a 48.7 grade. And Ronnie Bell had a 55.8 grade, but he played 45 snaps. So him and Tay Martin were like neck and neck, as far as your wide receivers. But offensively, your top five guys: Isaac Allerson, he played right tackle. Keyshawn Vaughn was a running back. He only played 7 snaps, but 4 of them were pass blocking. So he looked like he can be a really good pass protector. So that's good. Josh Dobbs, 73.3. And then Dominic Pooney was number 4. He played the right guard. He played 40 snaps. He had a 72.4. And then Jacob Cowing was 5. He was lined up in the slot mainly in this game. He played 50 snaps in this particular game, finished with a 69.5. 69.5 was his offensive grade. Defensively, though, you got a flyer. Because a lot of people have overlooked this young fella. And he's been with the team year after year after year after year. And he plays right defensive end for the 49ers. We got to give a round of applause to Alex Barrett. Because at that moment was when the 49ers synergy shifted a little bit. It was that turnover. Alex Barrett graded a 93.5. He played 33 snaps in this game. 93.5. He had a total of 4 pressures. 1 of them was a sack. 3 of them were hurries. He had 2 tackles in the backfield with 2 tackles for a loss. He forced a fumble, and he recovered it, if I'm not mistaken. Alex Barrett. Do the 49ers have something in Alex Barrett? Now, we know about Alex Barrett. Alex Barrett has always been finding a way to make a play. Always find a way to make a play. Nigel, when do first-round cuts happen? There's no such thing as first-round cuts anymore. Simple fact is, it's only the one cut. So you got to go from 90 to 53, I believe, on August 27th. That is Tuesday. After that last preseason game. So August 27th. I don't think Yadam played yesterday. I don't see. Did he play? Look, I don't see him on the list. Chris Conley did play yesterday. I didn't think he played, but he played the same 11 snaps with Brock Purdy. Once Brock Purdy came out, they took Chris Conley out. But Yadam didn't play. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat right now. I was just going through the the top 5. So Alex Barrett, 93.5, and then everything else was kind of like mid. Curtis Robinson was number 2, 78.6. Jonathan Garvin, number 3, 77.7. George Odom, number 4, 77.1. He only played 6 snaps in the game. I told you, they got him out of there early. Him and Jair Brown played 6 total snaps defensively, and they were out. That let me know that those are going to be the starting safeties for the San Francisco 49ers in 2020 freaking 4. That just lets me know that right there. Devondre Campbell finished 5th. He was the best linebacker out there, second best linebacker graded out there at the weak side linebacker, 72.7. Those were your top 5 grades. And if you want to go down to find out who graded the lowest, your bottom 5, your Torah Gross-Matos, 43.3, T.Y. McGill, 39.3, Jordan Elliott, 35.5, Nick Williams, 32.2, Kevin Givens, 30.3. I do want to make mention that the defensive tackles that are all in the bottom 5, except for T.Y. McGill, the last bottom 3, Elliott, Williams, Givens, only played 16 snaps in this game. And Yetur Gross-Matos only played 16 snaps too. T.Y. McGill got the bulk of the game at 32 snaps. But look, man, you could take these things with a grain of salt of however you want to take it. I think I like what I saw from Evan Anderson out there. It was a lot better than he was in the first game. And so I think the Niners defensively, like I said, in this game, they defensively found a way to like fix themselves. I thought they were going to give up a crazy bunch of yards, but they didn't give up a crazy bunch of air yards. Like they kept everything underneath. They didn't get beat deep over the top. And you know what? The Niners, the most interesting stat about the 49ers against the Saints was the Saints went 1 for 11 on third down. If you got the Saints to a third down, they couldn't convert. I thought that's pretty damn impressive, in my opinion. Thought it was pretty dang impressive. I did say that I want to talk. I do want to know the Niners got 15 total pressures in this game. They finished the game with 3 sacks, but 15 total pressures in this game. And they had a double-digit missed tackles. In my opinion, has to stop. But it is what it is. How much pressure did the offense give up, though? Let's go to pass blocking, and I'll get that for you. This can't be right. The Niners only gave up a total of 9 pressures. I felt like there was pressure every single play. I did. I felt like there was pressure every single play. Check this out. Chris Hubbard gave up 0 pressures. Drake Nugent gave up 0 pressures. You got 1 from Dominic Puni. You got 1 from Colton McKivitz. What? Only 1? Here's your top 5 pass blocking grades, and I'll give them to you. Cody Schrader's in there. He was a very good pass protector. I'm not going to say this running back controversy. We passed that part of the episode, but I will say he finished with a pretty damn good pass blocking grade at 75.4. But Chris Hubbard, Drake Nugent, the undrafted center, Dominic Puni finished with an 81.2. Cody Schrader, 75.4. Colton McKivitz finished with a 74.4. That's why I was trying to explain that Colton McKivitz didn't look that bad. He didn't look bad. It just looked like he gave up more, but he didn't look bad. He wasn't getting beat. He might have got pushed back, but he wasn't affecting the throw of the passing of the quarterbacks he was out there protecting. He played 30 snaps. Him and Dominic Puni, they played 30 snaps, and then they started factoring guys in. Jalen Moore was terrible. I thought Jalen Moore, he played 30 snaps too. I just didn't think that he looked good. He gave up a total of 3 pressures. Jalen Moore was the worst offensive lineman out there, to me, on the football field. So it could have been because it was his first game back. You could take that with a grain of salt. It could be something simple as that. What's good, Uncle Salty? So at the end of the day, you could take everything with a grain of salt. But those are your grades per PFF or whatnot. Let's got one more thing I want to discuss on today's episode. Let's talk about some of these injuries. You know, Jennings with the oblique injury. The 49ers the injuries just continue to pile up. The bad news is they have a lot of players injured at this time. The good news is they're not severe injuries. And so when you go into this last preseason game, the question is, who's not going to play? Whose injury is significant enough for them to actually miss the game? We're going to already rule out Christian McCaffrey with the calf strain. He's already been ruled out of preseason football. But which player do you feel needs to be out there in this last preseason game who's been struggling with an injury? Will we see Ricky? Will we see Pearsall? Will we get some Ricky Pearsall? I'm curious to know, will we get some Ricky Pearsall in this particular game? And so, yeah, that is, Kyle Shanahan said he was day-to-day. He's been out there running routes, but they just haven't allowed the physical contact. Do you guys think Kyle Shanahan is going to put Ricky Pearsall out on the football field? Because I think we all need to know what he can be able to do. Or do you think Kyle Shanahan just says, hey, man, we're going to wait. We're going to wait to the regular season. We already, the 49ers know what he can do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we'll see. Tanya says, I think we need to see Ricky. I want to see what all the hype is about. Yeah, I mean, it's your first round pick, right? Now, if he's unhealthy, that's why I asked these simple questions. How significant are these injuries? If the shoulder is a problem, I don't think you put him out there because you don't want to risk making the injury worse. 49ers throwback says he's doubtful. Yeah, I think I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Nick Knight says Kyle does not want to show that Ricky is a bust. I don't think Ricky Pearsall is a bust. I will say that. I think in this offense, in this system, he's going to be a problem, a good one. The question is, can he find a way to get healthy enough to show what he can do? And I think when you look at Ricky Pearsall right now, a lot of people are more concerned about him being like an injury bust, not necessarily like a bust at the wide receiver position. Dude has great hands, but the issue is he just can't find a way to stay healthy. And you guys say availability is the best ability, and if his availability is minute, it's going to be really hard to make the team. The Niners have a plethora of wide receivers. Now, that doesn't mean that Ricky Pearsall won't make the squad. I'm just curious to know if Kyle Shanahan is playing with the injuries a little bit, like, you know, as far as the wording of the injuries, things like that. Because it is a shoulder injury, but I'm just curious to see. Will Aaron Banks be good to go? Do you let him? Is Spencer Burford going to be cleared? He's had the broken forearm. I believe that's what a broken hand. I can't remember what it was for several weeks, right? This is like going on week 4 where you get him back out there. Is Elijah Mitchell's hamstring fixed? Is Jordan Mason gonna play? Like, these are some questions that I'm kind of like asking about. Is Jake Brendel gonna be good to go? Is John Feliciano, who's listed kind of like day-to-day, gonna be good to go? Like, I'm curious to know like which of these injuries are going to, like, you know, be significant going throughout this season. So the Niners got to continue to do a great job at managing the players and not damaging them more than what they already are. So if you don't see certain players play in this last preseason game, I just want you to know it's okay, because 2 weeks after that is Monday Night Football. And the 49ers, that's when it counts. So don't worry about it. You know what I mean? I just think overall, I think the injuries are going to play themselves out. You know what I mean? So don't stress the injury report, because nothing is too significant to where guys got to miss seasons. For our 49ers throwback says, hey, Wayne, a positive side to look at is this draft class is looking good for the 49ers. It is. And there's players we still haven't seen yet. Why? Due to injuries. So these are players that potentially can be stashed. I can't wait to see what Isaac Guerendo does. Because it looks like that the 49ers in this draft went speed. They went speed on the offensive line as far as quick 10-yard splits and things like that. They also went with speed at the skill positions. They went with speed at the linebacker. Like they just kind of like went on with a speed route with the draft. So I'm curious to know like if that is something that they feel like is going to help them hit home and get over the hump. Like, you know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the 49ers. But listen, great game for the Niners overall. I think so far in the preseason, they look like the 49ers. Not too much. How cool is it to get the Kubiaks calling plays against each other? You know what I mean? 49ers throwback says Jarrett Kingston only allowed 1 pressure and 40 blocking snaps. Yeah, you want to know why he was graded low? Run blocking. So when you look at his run blocking grade, the 49ers struggled to run the ball. I know they had 94 yards on the ground, but they just it was just like a lot of that, some of it came from the quarterback running and extending plays. So you got to look at that. But his run blocking grade was relatively kind of like what hurt him. You want to know? Here's the top 5 run blocking grades, and then I'll tell you where he finished. And this is, to me, if you saw stuff in Colton McKivitz, Jarrett Kingston was 24th in run blocking. He finished with a 46.7. So overall, like his grade was relatively low. But Isaac Arleson, like he had an 83.1 run blocking grade. He was your right tackle. He came in for Colton McKivitz. Ronnie Bell was he was 2 at 78.3. He had the drops, but he was run blocking. Nick Sakel, 69.3, Cameron Latou, 68.3, Dominic Pooney, 65.4. I saw an improvement in run blocking from Pooney this game from the first game. That's good. Pass pro, he's the guy. Run blocking, it's a little bit more difficult. Interesting that Ronnie Bell was graded high and run blocking. That's good. Like I said, I understand it's going to be tough. Like I said, it's going to be really tough on who the Niners keep and who the Niners cut. And we got a couple of weeks before we even get to that. Isaiah, what's going on? He says, I agree, Wayne. We will be good. We can't forget we have a lot of great players and the quarterback that the world has defined as David. Okay, I like that. The one who killed Goliath. I like that story. I actually like David versus Goliath, which means it should be Purdy versus Mahomes again in the Super Bowl. I actually like that. Stovey 4x4. And what was Kyle thinking playing Brock? So Kyle talked about it, right? Like Kyle said, that he felt that it was okay. Like they felt safe with Brock being out there. And Brock wanted to play. Brock wanted to play. Like, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, like you go with it. You gave him 11 plays. You gave him a few series. It just did not turn out the way that we thought it would turn out, because we thought we would see some of the quick throws. Like the first wasn't the first pass, the quick throw to the check down to Braden Willis. And if Brandon doesn't step out of bounds, that's a huge game, right? Huge game. So we'll see, man. Look, a lot of 49er football to get to. Season is not even begin yet. They're still in the preseason. They're still in preseason form. And I could tell you that once week 1 happens, a lot of stuff's going to look a lot different. You're going to get the 49ers top offense. You're going to get the 49ers top defense. And I don't think they're going to be much to reckon with. Like, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to watch. You know what I'm saying? We got one more question. He says, hey, Wayne, I can't stop thinking about the punter and his coffin kicks pinning down fools. Yeah, man, we talked about Presley Harvin III, and we felt like Presley Harvin III is making his case to a team in the NFL. The question is he making his case to be a 49er? That we're going to have to figure out. I think that comes down to how severe and significant the injury to Mitch Wisnowski is. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it's going to be great. But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Truly appreciate it. WayneBreezie Show's always going to be live on Mondays as long as I can help it. And I'm living and I'm breathing. All right. Mose and Fair should be back tonight on Nitty Gritty Niners Talk. I'll check in with them. If not, Peachy and I will be rocking at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to check out the B.A.M B.A.M. show, one of my favorite shows. My bro, Mike Andrews from Nothing But Niners will be going live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the WayneBreezie channel. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Check out some of them other videos I got going on up there if you missed anything, man. Because, listen, we be putting out good stuff. The energy is great. You guys are great in the chat. Love the chat. Love the crew. Love my Breezy Bunch crew. You guys get a round of applause. You know what I'm saying? Just for just being the greatest motherfucking crew in the whole wide world. I'm going to put this vibe out here. I don't know about the BA situation as far as when he's going to sign the extension. I just know he's going to. I'll leave it at that. But I think this is the week Trent Williams returns. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the WayneBreezie Show. I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, stay faithful to the Bay, baby. You know how we do it. We out. Peace.
So bright that we shine. All we do is the Niners. Ready, go, let us find us. So faithful to the Bay. I be sipping gold bar whiskey on the rocks, and a 24-karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy B tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. WayneBreezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. WayneBreezie, the 4-9 preacher. We so bright that we shine.